I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving out there, enjoyed the day, got a chance to eat a lot of food, unbuckle the pants a little bit, have a few cocktails maybe, if that's your choice, and then watch some football all day long yesterday. That's what Thanksgiving's all about. Kim Bokamper here, Joe Rose. You're watching the Audible. If you're watching us on Periscope, you can go ahead and send your questions in anytime you want. Just hashtag the Audible. You can watch us on a rebroadcast beginning tomorrow on the Miami Dolphins Facebook page and on MiamiDolphins.com. Joe, you have a good Thanksgiving?
Thanks, Bo. I did. I ate a lot. I hit the pumpkin pie really hard. Apple pie. I did the combination. Threw some ice cream on top. And then at the end of the night, just to make sure I stayed stuffed and miserable, I went back for seconds of mashed potatoes, gravy, turkey, and ham.
Yeah, I did one of those. I woke up in the middle of the night, got up, walked out of my bed, made a big, thick sandwich, and kind of sat back in the corner of the bed, watched a little TV before I went to bed.
If the turkey dries up a little bit, all you do is you put extra mayonnaise and salt on there, and it's good to go. It's just good to go. Perfect.
No problem with that. No problem with that. All right, big game coming up on Sunday, Joe. It's funny because Joe and I both grew up in the Bay Area. Both grew up 49er fans. I know all my friends are 49er fans. Right. I know your dad's a big 49er fan, and all your friends are 49er fans. Anytime we anytime we make contact with the 49ers, always a little twinge of that hometown in there.
Yeah. No question about it.
Yeah.
I've been living it, because I talked to my dad, and oh my gosh, right now we missed on some drafts, and I don't know about this general manager and the same stuff, and do we have the right quarterback and all the things that, hey, we've dealt with ourselves down here, but when it's your team, it's a lot different.
How many times have you been asked in the last week, Joe, since the game in L.A., hey, is this a trap game? Is this a trap game?
Over and over.
I was with a friend at my house just as I was walking out the door. I go, you sure this is not a trap game? I said, well, I'm hoping it's not a trap game. I hope they figure it out. I mean, but 1-9, look, there's always, no matter how much you say it, no matter how much, we don't pay attention to records. We look at them on the tape. They're pretty good. But they're, I think, one of the worst teams, and I think they give up the most points of anybody in the National Football League.
31 points a game.
And I think that they score as little as anybody in the National Football League. They're pretty close to it. So they're not a very good football team. You can't. There's no two ways about it when a team's 1-9. So you always worry a little bit about that maybe. And I'm not saying looking ahead, but just saying that feeling like, hey, man, we can just roll our helmets out here and get this job done,
We've dealt with it ourselves, though.
Yes.
I can remember playing against teams that weren't very good, and you just come out to start the game. And I know coaches hate to hear this, but you're just a little flat because you're seeing the same stats. You're watching all the plays going, God, that guy can't cover any ball. We're going to kill this guy. And, hey, they're the worst run defense in football. We'll be able to run all over them. Except they get jacked up for you. They got nothing to lose. They come in here now. It's not they look at this thing. It's not 3 downs. It can be 4 downs in certain situations. Those are dangerous teams.
I remember I've told the story before. I remember going through there. You try to do everything the same every week, right? Your preparations, and you do certain things at certain times, and you take this certain route to the stadium, and you do all those things the right way, and you're figuring. So I'm doing all the thing, getting ready to go to the game, but I'm just not having that. Not that nervousness. It's just not in there. I go, but it'll come. It'll in the locker room, still not there. So I find in my last gasp, I'm walking out in the field, and I just don't have it. And I know I don't have it. And I go, that's all right. There's 10 other guys in the huddle. They'll cover for me, right? Then I get in the huddle and I look around. Everyone's got the same look on their face as I've got in mine. I go, you know what? We're in big trouble here. Right. And that's what the Dolphins can't do on Sunday against this San Francisco 49er football team. They've got to play this game as if they're playing the New England Patriots, and their life depends on it. Because I think, from here on in, if you want any chance to be where you are at the end, you've got to take every single game like that. And I'll give them credit. That's the way that's how they've marched through this season so far. Right. That's how you go from 1-4 to being 6-4, and making that change by taking every game one game at a time. I think the coach has done a good job getting these guys mentally prepared that way.
But you know what, Bo? If you're the Miami Dolphins, it's not like you're beating everybody by 3 touchdowns in these games. You've had to have some great comebacks and tight ball games in the fourth quarter. So all those things are going to be super important in this game that you better know you got to play one of your better games to have a chance because, hey, all of a sudden you turn the ball over 3 or 4 times. You go back to that old stuff that we saw before this 5-game winning streak, and you're going to be in a dogfight here late in the fourth quarter.
Squatch, what's up, man? What do you need, bro? Look at my man Squatch coming. So, hey, turn around. Hold on. Come on over here, Squatch. Come on over here. So this is Squatch. You're one of our guys in the back there. So just so you guys know.
He got me a coffee. I love this guy.
Speaking of, I really. So I'm kind of, every now and then I kind of jump on Twitter and look at what people are saying and stuff.
Yeah.
And Joe, you don't know this, but they can send you messages. You didn't know that on Twitter, right? Direct message.
No.
So I get this message. I saw it today, so I figured I'd bring it out. It's from someone, Scooby Fins Up. Appreciate it, at Scooby Fins Up. And I think Dolph Fan for Life retexted it.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a chain here.
All right.
Kim Bokamper, always highlighting Neon Leon mistakes on the Audible. Now, this is where they take a shot at me. Like you, squeaky, cutting people off during responses, and mumbling, stuttering, which I don't disagree with any one of those, but it's just nice to know that we're getting a little feedback on the Neon Leon support in there. Look at Trey. Trey's all happy about it. Leon's jumping up and down. He got some support.
You know what happens? There's always people out there on social media always going for the underdog. Always going for that. Poor Leon, he doesn't get a chance to get
Leon.
even. Yeah.
Look, he's always on Leon. Always on Leon. Well, you know what? Maybe I am on a little bit on Leon every now and then. But, if he'd do one thing right, just do one thing right, I wouldn't have to get on top of him,
Is he struggling a little bit?
Ah, geez. Hell, I might as well do his job and mine at the same time, the way this thing's going. You're watching the Audible here. Joe Rose, Kim Bokamper. If you're watching us on Periscope, you can send your questions via Twitter, #the Audible, rebroadcast tomorrow on Miami Dolphins Facebook page and on MiamiDolphins.com. Let's take a quick look at the injury report for both teams, Joe. For us, Brandon Albert didn't practice. He's doubtful. Mike Pouncey didn't practice. He is out for the game. Xavier Howard, limited all week long, doubtful, so he's getting his way back. I just don't think that he's ready. And quite frankly, I don't think he'll be ready next week, but maybe 3 weeks down the road. I think that may be the target we're looking at for him a little bit. Maybe not. The good news is that Laramie Tunsil has practiced at a limited basis all 3 practices, and he's listed as questionable. Boy, I tell you what, if he can play, man, what a big lift it would be for this football team. And if they ever needed somebody to come back and play, it'd be nice to have him back and ready to go this week.
I agree. Whether it's guard or tackle, get him back in that starting offensive line, especially with Albert out and Pouncey out, would be a big help.
As far as the 49ers, the only one they've got is Jamie Ward's questionable. He's got a concussion. He was limited yesterday and today in their practices. Wide receiver Torrey Smith got a shoulder. He's limited, questionable. Aaron Lynch, the linebacker, with an ankle. He's questionable. And Quentin Dial, the defensive tackle, is questionable. So those are the injury reports. I think as far as I'm concerned right now, as far as the 49ers is concerned, let me see how I get out of this.
I have no idea.
I expect them all to
stuff.
play. I know.
You're pretty good.
Or I would say Leon, but I don't want Leon to come in here because I know he won't get the job done. At H Malpa, how do you evaluate the 49ers D-line and our O-line? Well, it's certainly hard to evaluate our O-line because we're not sure who's going to be playing in it. But as far as the 49ers defensive line, Joe, what do you see there?
Well, I just want to say this. Their defense has really struggled. The 49ers played a little bit better against the run defense last week, but they're dead last, and they're dead last by a big, big number. They're giving up closer to 200 yards and 150 right now. Way, way too much for the National Football League. But as you said, the great neutralizer, Bo, is you don't know if it's going to be what we saw in the second half with Young, Urbic, and Steen in there at center guard and tackle. That's a little bit of a neutralizer because now all of a sudden you're talking about your 6th, 7th, and 8th guys on the offensive line. I think it changes blocking schemes. Tight end has to stay in. Deion Sims, by the way, did a great job blocking last week. Great job. Sometimes even one-on-one on blitz situations. So he stayed in, really did a good job. Probably more of the same, if not. You said, Tunsil, how important he is.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, you get that guy in there, whether he's playing guard or tackle, and he's a natural tackle.
Yeah, he's
really helps you.
Really just a great player. And you can imagine, I mean, we've seen him enough now at both those positions. As he continues to grow with this football team next year, the year after, this guy's gonna be a Pro Bowler. You got to be a multiple Pro Bowler by the time he's done playing because he's that kind of talent. So yeah, if he's in there, but look, I feel comfortable with Urbic and Steen. A little bit iffy with Sam Young just because it's a tough position out there that people can take advantage of, but you can help. But those guys, I know they're going to battle. I know Sam Young. If Sam Young plays, Sam's going to battle. So yeah. At Roberto, 1979-69, 1-4 start, then five game winning streak. Why aren't the Dolphins being talked about nationally? Well, I think when you look nationally, Joe, if you kind of look at some of the stuff and, they do the power rankings and all that,
right.
They're certainly moving up those lists. And in virtually everyone that you look at, they're kind of moving up. But I think they're still, I think people still look at the AFC East and say, hey, it's New England, and let those other guys all beat themselves up. And quite frankly, I mean, the way this team has played over the last decade and a half, I still think that the national media out there is saying, well, let's wait and see. Let's wait to see if they're really a real football team.
I look at it too, and even last week against the Rams, it became the story of a rookie quarterback starting for the Rams, the number 1 overall pick, Jared Goff, instead of anything about the Miami Dolphins going for a 5th straight win. I think they look at these matchups, even against San Diego and some of these other teams, they really haven't gotten great respect since they beat Pittsburgh. And everybody kind of going, whoa, how about that? We didn't see that one coming. So I think the Dolphins just got to keep winning, and they're going to be under the radar for a while, Bo. It's still the Cowboys and even the Redskins and their game last night.
You look at the last 3 games, Joe. You didn't win them until late in the football game. You won with a kickoff return, an interception return, and then 2 drives in the last 4.5 minutes of the football game to win that football game. So I would think from a national standpoint, I think the Dolphins come out and start winning by 2 touchdowns, 10 points, those types of games where you're not, scrambling in the fourth quarter to get the job done. Then I think maybe you get some of these people believing a little bit more, and we'll see. But that's that's their prerogative. And I always like the idea of sneaking up on somebody, being there
too.
Long as you're there in the end, doesn't matter, right?
You start patting people on the back, and all of a sudden your family and the media are going around telling you how great you are, and the next thing you know, you lose a stinker. So you don't want that to happen this week.
At D. Dalton. Now, I hope that's not Darren Dalton, or I hope it is Darren Dalton. Maybe DD is Double D's a fan.
Heard that name.
We need to eliminate defensive third down penalties, giving up first downs. No question about that. There's nothing more frustrating. Look, they're offensively and defensively. Third downs where you convert to continue a drive, and you have a personal foul that calls it back. Defensively, when you hold them in a third down, and you get you get a pass interference, or you get a hands to the face, or any of these calls, that's frustrating, man. That's frustrating for any football team. And they do need to shut that down a little bit. But it's funny because I asked Coach Gaze after, and he goes, "Hey, you're going to ask me about penalties after the comeback we had." But that's what certainly the first half of that football game. One of the reasons the Dolphins got themselves in such a hole was because the penalties early in the first half of that football game.
Bo, what frustrates me the most the last few weeks is seeing the Dolphins get a great pass rush on third down. Quarterback either gets sacked or has no chance to complete a pass, and somebody's holding, and they call holding down the field, and they get an automatic first down out of it. And then you go back and you look at it like the one against Byron Maxwell.
Oh, please.
I'm still trying to figure out what he did wrong. I still didn't see anything there. But those are the ones that keep drives going, Bo. A couple times it happened to the Dolphins. They got a stop. They had the penalty. Got another stop, had a penalty. It does get frustrating.
How about the drive you get back-to-back guys lined up in the neutral zone? I mean, when do you see that? Meanwhile, the next series, the Rams are in. The Dolphins on offense. I'm standing right behind the official, right in the line of scrimmage, and I'm yelling, "Hey, the guy's in the neutral zone. His helmet's in the neutral zone."
That's right.
And the guy never makes the call, but, what the hell. Anyway. All right, here's a Twitter question. Throwback uniforms this week. They're back this week. Dolphins got the throwback uniforms, the ones that we wore.
We got rid of those Thursday night ones. Those got to go. Throwback is good. Matter of fact, I've had more Dolphin fans going, love the throwback. And I go, hey, we like them too. We're with you.
Everyone keeps, I saw they want to put a petition. Let's get the throwbacks uniforms back. Everyone wants them back. And just so you know, the league doesn't allow you to change uniforms like willy-nilly whenever you want to. So they changed to this new color, this new, new look Dolphin uniform. I want to say it's 4 or 5 years before you can petition to change those uniforms to something different. So I don't know how many years we are into those uniforms, but there's a time period where they're not going to let teams change every 2 years or 3 years because they don't want fans having to buy jerseys. Well, they do, but I say
do
that.
like when you're going.
Yeah, but anyway,
I do like the old school stuff too.
I like the old school stuff, and I think there's a feeling around the organization after seeing them a couple times that hey, those are pretty nice uniforms. So who knows? Maybe 3-4 years we'll get back there. But okay, at Blackwell 0187. Will Deion Jordan have any impact on the defense this year? Joe, this week Deion Jordan started practice, and he practiced yesterday, but they practiced in no pads yesterday. Today, I believe they put the pads on out there and got some work going that way. Deion Jordan, I just don't see him having any impact on the defense this year whatsoever, Joe. That's my opinion. I base it on nothing other than kind of watch the way he walks around, kind of still see him limping a little bit, and he certainly physically isn't built the way the guy that we saw when he was the third pick in the NFL draft.
I agree with you. First of all, some days he's walking, some days he's limping. Like you said, we see that behind the scenes. And then the other thing is, well, you can't just practice a week or two on 2 days of practice in the middle of a week and go, he's coming back. And then I ask you, who's going to beat out right now as pass rushers on the outside unless a bunch of guys go down? That's the only way I see him playing. Both 2 or 3 guys get hurt and they need somebody, then they'll put Deion Jordan in there.
Speaking of that, Mario Williams did practice on a limited basis this week too. So he may get a chance to come back and play. Hey, you're watching the Audible. Kim Bokamper, Joe Rose with you on this Friday afternoon. I hope you're enjoying it. Hope you had a very, very good Thanksgiving with your family and everyone enjoyed that. You can go ahead and send your questions if you're watching us on Periscope via Twitter, #TheAudible. You can watch the rebroadcast of this show beginning tomorrow morning on the Miami Dolphins Facebook page, and you can see us on MiamiDolphins.com. At Lay in Low, I appreciate the Audible. I became a Dolphin fan watching the teams that you guys played on. Well, appreciate that. I hope you do like the Audible. I hear from a lot of people when walking around the country going, there's always people like it, and I hope they enjoy it, and I hope they take it as with a little bit of lightheartedness that comes with it sometimes on the program. Bismo Funyuns. How about that one, Joe?
That's pretty good.
Bismo Funyuns. With a win against the 49ers, will Steen, Urbic, and Young become the mini unicorns? I'm going to have you translate that, Joe.
Mini unicorns.
Do we know what the mini unicorn is? That doesn't mean anything dirty, does it, Leon? Look, he's not even paying attention back there.
I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what.
Oh, the who told me that, Trey? I know Leon didn't come up with that.
But we'll tell you one thing.
Oh, no. Squatch came up with it. Oh, so the nickname for the starting 5, Tunsil, Albert, Pouncey, Bushrod, and Juwan James are the unicorns. You know that?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I
just
knew there were a bunch of first-round picks that are really good.
All I can say is this. That's a pretty embarrassing nickname, isn't it? The unicorns?
Better than that. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Well, listen, let's give those guys credit. They're really good. If you're in the nickname business, which I'm not into.
Yeah, let's say, with a win against the 49ers, will Steen, Urbic, and Young become the mini unicorns? I think absolutely. I think they deserve to be one of the unicorns.
Need to be talking
mini
about
or whatever.
That's a nice fill-in job.
All the unicorns I've seen are like in the little doll houses with the little pink and
good point.
And
I don't know if that's a weird one to hear about unicorns on the offensive line.
All right, here's another Twitter. With Denver and Kansas City playing each other this week and tied for 5th and 6th, Miami must win. And look, there's no question. Look, Miami's got to win. They've got to continue to win if they want to have any chance. And the one thing they can't do is they can't be looking over their shoulder and what's going on in the AFC West and this and that. This football team has to be what they've been all year long. And I know it's hard for fans to really grasp this is, they've got to be looking at the 49ers today. They don't got to be thinking about who we play next week.
Not Baltimore, not New York, Buffalo.
Not Arizona. They've got to play one game at a time because, quite frankly, they're not a good enough football team to be thinking in that stretch of the imagination. They've got to put all their efforts into every game, which they've been doing, to get to where they've been. So they can't stop doing that right now, Joe.
But I will say this: if you are, and I kind of looked at the standings of everybody too. Those AFC West teams are all going to play each other.
Yeah.
And somebody's got to be a winner, is going to be a loser. So for the Raiders, Kansas City, Denver, team's going to lose 2 in a row. It's going to be coming up.
And look at, the Dolphins got to end up with Buffalo. They've got to end up with the Jets. And they got to end up with New England.
At home.
2 of those on the road in New England. So, and you don't think that those 2 teams, those 2 teams that you play on the road, don't remember what happened when they came down here and played at Hard Rock.
Oh yeah.
And you remember that. And it's a division. It's a division game. They're going to be ready to play in that. So yeah.
And let me tell you, Buffalo, we have had a we have had a hard time playing not just New England, but Buffalo winning there.
I tell you, we've had a mismatch. I don't know what it is. They changed team, they changed personnel, but for some reason, the mismatch against Baltimore is real, and it's been there for a long time.
We've seen it. Seen it in the regular season, seen the playoffs on a good team, and what they're able to do coming down here to the stadium down here in Miami.
What was the coach that didn't go for it on fourth down? Or
we were lucky we weren't 0-16 that year.
Got a little gift right there from him.
Yeah, you're right.
At Coy Vega 13, say we win. What happens if Casey and Denver tie this Sunday? Man, these guys are getting it. You do that every day, but I
get some of that stuff.
Every day.
I'm a little more used to that stuff.
Yeah.
That we got people ties, and we have seen more ties. I think we had ties in back-to-back weeks.
Two ties this year. Yeah.
It doesn't happen a lot, and let's hope we get a winner in overtime if it does. If we have a tie in regulation, let's find a winner.
Yeah. At 36, Double D Lover. Bo, please discuss your opinion about Deion Jordan back in camp and the relevance of this. Well, he's been around since training camp began. He was on the PUP list, or he was on the non-football injury reserve list.
Right.
So he's practicing this week. They got 3 weeks to evaluate him, 2 or 3 weeks. I think it may be 2 weeks.
I'm not sure.
To evaluate what you're going to do with him. They could put him back on the injured, non-football injury list and go through the rest of the season. They could let him go, or they could activate him. So they've got a few different things they can do with him. I don't think there's any relevance to him being in camp, in practice right now, other than it's the timeline. Like I said, Joe, I don't think he's conditioned enough to play the game that you need to play right now.
Right.
I don't
preseason.
I don't think he's probably physically not ready from his knees. He's had 2 knee surgeries in short order in less than a year here that he's got to deal with. And quite frankly, and again, I'm just giving you my opinion. This is nothing from the team. I don't know how much he really wants to play anymore. I really don't, Joe. It's hard for me to have a guy that had the opportunity put in his lap like that and just kind of toss it away for 3 years.
Made some bad decisions.
I have a hard time wrapping my arms around the guy, you know?
And no matter what you want to say about he's the first defensive player taken in a draft, and you move up to get him. So that he carries that around with him when he plays with both. The other thing I was told is if they get shorthanded on special teams, and it doesn't have to be a position, and if they think he can help them on special teams, if they're struggling, that would be another way. But unless there's an injury at defensive end, I just don't see it. We don't know if he's a good pass rusher or not, Bo. We haven't seen it.
Look, the one thing he's got going, one thing that may help him now is, the status of Mario Williams. If Mario's ankle doesn't come around, if it becomes a lingering problem, and Deion's there, and they think, hey, maybe he can come in and give us some help. I think that's where the crack in the door is for Deion Jordan. But I would be.
But he's not getting any live work. These practices he's going through right now, you're not getting to see 100% a guy playing in the trenches and going all out live. These practices now with guys so banged up, it's a different football game during the week.
And not only that, but remember, they've only, through collective bargaining, they can only practice during the regular season. It's a 17-week season when you put the bye weeks in there. They can only practice in full pads 14 times during the regular season. So it's not every week. And I don't know what their count is up to this point, but, oh, man. That would have been nice, wouldn't it?
We did that in about 3 weeks.
At DB Key Hunter, I think that is. He's not hunting key deers down there, is he? Come on, DN, you can't be doing that. I love the background of the show while you were in California. Palm trees and sunny. We liked it a little bit too.
Oh,
that was nice.
You talking about that San Diego low 70s every day, perfect weather? Yeah, that was nice.
It was a nice little setup because we're sitting there on the patio, on the patio of Neon Leon's room there. The only thing disturbing about that was producing the show in his underwear while we're sitting there was a little.
Why couldn't he put his clothes on?
I guess it was because he was in his room. He was comfortable in his room. Figured he could just walk around in his tidy whities there.
Can you at least put a T-shirt on or something? You're sitting there.
Yeah. Anyway. At Pure Heart Inc., Joe, how many minutes of sobriety do you have? That's a shot right there, man. Yeah. That's a shot.
I did golf earlier today.
And man, you're out there on the golf course,
But I'm doing well, thank you. Right. I'm okay.
So to answer that, it would be 45 minutes. E-Money 74. San Francisco last in the league in rushing defense and scoring defense. how important is this stat? Well, it's an important stat if you're sitting down there. But let's not forget, not so many weeks ago, we
were that team.
We were lingering down there around the bottom of the barrel when it came to run defense and when it came to offensive production.
Right.
First downs, third down production, all those types of things. I remember a time when we were down like 24% on third down.
We were dead last year in third down on offense for a while. Even though, by the way, you want to talk about a great stat for this defense, been the great neutralizer has been third down defense, the best in the National Football League. We forget about that one.
So I'm just kind of saying, I mean, look, it certainly is a stat that you would, when you look at it on paper, you think the Dolphins, hey, look, we're going to be able to score on them. We're going to be able to run on them. We should have, almost 180, 200 yards. When you look at those stats, you say it, but the reality is when you step on the field, I know it's cliche, but, anybody you play out there.
What do you think, though, 10 weeks in, do you start to buy into the stats a little bit more now?
I do. Look, San Francisco's a bad football team. I can buy into those stats because they're 1-9.
Right.
If they were a team that's sitting here at 5-4, then you look at those stats and go, wow, they don't mean that much to me.
Right. They're still finding ways to win.
They're finding ways to get a job
they're usually strong in other areas of their football team.
Exactly. No doubt about it.
Which this team's not for the 49ers.
All right, Joe, this football team, let's talk about the 2 weeks, in the West Coast. And I was really pleased how this football team, look, they played. It was a tough start to the game in L.A., the Rams game. They came out and they pulled in the end. But I don't know if in our day, if we'd have gone out and stayed in San Diego for 10 days, that we'd have been very good in that second game. But these guys, I think, did enough. I think they stayed true to the fact that they were there for business.
I agree.
I think that they were serious about what they were doing.
That's a good point.
And I don't think they let the atmosphere take away from what they were out there to do.
That's pretty good, Bo. I agree. We stayed at a really nice place, La Costa, out there next to La Jolla. All those areas you take vacations there. Those are where you go for a nice vacation. And those guys, that's a great point. I know we break down games, but Bo, that might be the best point of all. Those guys stayed all about business. You didn't hear about guys going to San Diego or Mexico or going up to L.A. to go to Hollywood or anywhere else.
It would have been easy for guys to jump to Las Vegas on a couple days off.
He gave him a day and a half off, and the guy stayed around. And Bo, we were around and we were out. And that was a good group, man. I give them. They got a lot of young guys on that team. They got a lot of money in their pocket. They can do anything they want. And that was kind of the message coming out. This group stayed pretty dedicated. And a lot of that, talking to some of the assistant coaches, has to do with those veteran players. Like, dude, Cam Wake, I've been doing nothing but losing around here. You guys can suck it up for a week and do what you're supposed to. And on your free day, there's enough to do around here. Go look at the ocean. Go hang out and have a beer in a restaurant or something, but you don't have to abuse it.
And I tell you, who's become my favorite player on this team, Joe? Brandon Albert. Watching this guy.
Awesome.
Watching this guy 2 weeks ago dislocate his wrist, come back in the game, came back and played, had surgery, and wanted to play last week. And he's out there on the field, keeping his guys in the game, keeping them motivated. And if that doesn't send a message to everybody in that football team how important this guy wants to win football games and how important they should view each and every game, I don't know what it needs, but it really has been awesome watching him for the last few weeks.
How refreshing as old football players to hear a guy say, I don't count me, I'm coming back next week. And doctors going, wait a minute. Slow down, Brandon. That was pretty, calm down. You can come back. But he goes, man, don't count me. I mean, he wants to play. And Bo, when he couldn't play, like you said, he was getting those guys. They were having trouble on the O-line early in the game. He was getting them pumped up. He wasn't sitting over on the bench with a jacket on.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, El Chapo Jr. says, happy Thanksgiving, guys. That includes everyone in the back there. Squatch, Leon, Trey, Jeff, everyone back there gets a little thumbs up from El Chapo Jr. Happy Thanksgiving. Favorite side dish, Joe, he wants to know.
Oh, man.
Stuffing for me. Bar none.
Stuffing?
Bar none. I could eat stuffing with nothing else. Just give me some gravy and stuffing, and I'm a happy guy.
Boy, I like the basics, but you know what? I like deviled eggs.
Oh, I love me some deviled eggs.
Those deviled eggs. Yeah. Boy, my mother-in-law makes these deviled eggs and puts a little spice on the yolk part.
It gives me a rough night, though, if I eat too many deviled eggs early on. A little later, it gets a little...
I went 4 right off the bat.
Yeah. Oh, really? 4?
And my system was fine. It was good.
Okay. At Laying Low, do you think having stayed out west for 2 weeks and now coming back east will affect the Dolphins. I don't think so. You know what? And I tell you a funny reason why. Because I think Thanksgiving, you threw Thanksgiving in there, and you've got a little change in the schedule, and it kind of gets your mind away from, hey, we've been away for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of compacted this week a little bit. And it's made it more difficult in the 49ers. Obviously, they've got to travel travel from west to east, but they've got to travel out here, Joe, and they've had to deal with Thanksgiving in this week.
That's right. They had that in the middle of it. I just wonder when you lose that many games in a row.
Yeah.
It's the old, somebody makes a run at you and you go, here we go again. Yeah. All the negative psyche of your brain, everything just go, you haven't had success.
We touched on it earlier in the program. And you were out there. I know I talked to some of my friends out there, and there's a lot of this going on out there, man. A lot of finger pointing. It's not me. It's this guy. It's that guy. That guy's a problem. This guy's a problem. That guy's not doing this. This guy's doing that. And you got the whole Kaepernick thing that just keeps, floating around in there. Doesn't get any better. And he's still talking, which I don't know why he's doing that. But anyway, I think they've got a lot more to worry about than the Dolphins have to worry about after coming back from being out in the West Coast for so long.
Yeah, I'm with you, and you're right. One of the things right now, you even got the general manager trying to defend the owner. They got this young owner that's running the team. It's his family's team. He's running as a young guy, and they're saying he doesn't know what he needs to do. They're flying banners out there at their new ballpark out
Jeff
there
Ireland
too.
working for him out there?
No, he's in New Orleans. No, you mean the guy that thought we had a bunch of 3s, 4s, and 5s? Now you're getting me going on that.
I mean the banners is all.
I'm sorry.
I just before we go, we got to go. I got to give back to the guy that asked about San Diego. I'm going to tell you how nice that place was. We stayed at in San Diego, La Costa Spa out there. After the game on Monday, Mr. Ross comes walking out. So he's walking out, and kind of talking to him. Hey, how's it going, Mr. Ross? And we all go, man, this is a nice place. And he looks around and goes, yeah, man, this is a really nice place. If Stephen Ross says a place is really nice, that tells you how nice that place was. Yeah. Hey, it's been nice having you with us today. Thanks to all of you that sent your questions in. Thanks for keeping me in line on Twitter and saying, I'm giving too much of a hard time to Neon Leon back there. But if you knew and saw what I saw, you may agree with me. I'm just saying. Joe, it's always a pleasure having you, my man.
Paul.
All right.
Thank you,
Take
buddy.
care. We'll see you again on Monday. Have a good weekend. Dolphins win. We'll see.